Some other questions from the floor? Yes, please. Do approach the microphone. I think there's a couple of you.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm just going to say that I think criminalizing marital rape is a really noble and wonderful cause, but I'm also thinking that our society is really conservative in a lot of parts and quite traditional in terms of a lot of women. So even if we do criminalize marital rape and make it legal in the eyes of the law, how do we reach out to these women and make sure they speak out? Because a lot of them are going to think that rape is a thing of shame, it's a stigma. They're not going to say, like the case that Ms. Marty mentioned, they're not going to speak out, they're not going to, how do we increase public education so that criminalizing marital rape doesn't become something that's effective only in the courts, but also, on the grounds? Thank you.
Dana, would you like to address that?
I think Brahma brought up the point that we have to have education. I think what is sorely needed in our education system is the kind of education that is going to prepare us to be human beings, to recognize each other as human beings and to communicate as human beings. It's gender awareness, it's human rights issues, it's how we communicate. During the break, I was having a conversation with a group of people, and I think that a lot of the problems that we face in society today has a lot to do with how we are fixated in our gender roles. And the role that is prescribed to each of us is impractical and really not consistent with what is required of us in dealing with our everyday issues. It seems to me that's really fundamental. I'm also biased about an education in the fine arts, because I think that that's where you are teaching humanities. It's not our system. I think that every human being is born with the capacity to sing, to dance, to feel, to hear, to respond, and so on. And the kind of education that we have been having just reduces this. And to deviating from the point, but to reduce education in music and so on, and exposure to this kind of like a CCA, an important part of the education, I think it's really depriving our citizens. To create a situation where only the rich and the one who can afford can pursue an art education, that's really depriving our citizens' right. And it is linked with being, it is about being human.
I forget the source of this research, but the question was, in what societies is there a high incidence of domestic violence? Is it the primitive societies? Is it the more developed societies or the less developed societies? And what came out from the findings was that the societies where there are less social sanctions against the use of violence, these same societies will see an increase in domestic violence. And I think social sanctions cuts across the whole range, from the law, from active policing, from even the neighbors saying, you shouldn't have done this, that's wrong. Even the parents saying to the daughter, how can you allow your husband to do this to you? I think it involves that whole range of response. Yeah, so I like what was done in terms of the video presentation. I think some of these messages have to be almost in your face. And in the past, I think that's what AWARE has been credited to being able to do. Some has been the softly, gentle approach to public education. But you need both, because some individuals respond to one form and not to the other.
Thank you, Lynn. I think the gentleman over there was trying to approach the mic, and then the lady in the orange shirt after that. Thank you.